Well, hey there everyone, and welcome back to Cowboy Survival. A couple weeks ago, I did a video on the brand new Stanley Wildfare Go 2-cup cook set. It's basically a redesign of their old Adventure 2-cup cook set. And it's got some improvements. Some people like it, some people like the old one better. But I had a lot of questions about this on the last video, so I thought I'd do a quick video and just answer a bunch of those questions for you right here. Now, in the meantime, what I want to do is make sure and encourage everyone watching to subscribe to the site. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of viewing so we can monetize the site. I just think it'd be cool to do that. If we don't, I'm still gonna do the videos, but if we can get there, that'd be great. So if you remember, go ahead and click that subscribe button below. And when you're done, if you like the video, click the like button as well. So let's just get into the questions about the new Stanley Wildfare Go 2-cook camp set. So we're going to answer several questions that were raised about the old pot versus the new pot that I did not really address in the original video. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to go through and look at this. The first question I want to look at is the dimensions of these two pots. Clearly, the new one is going to be a little bit bigger than the old one. You can see that very clearly. If you actually put them side by side, the new one is slightly higher. Not so much that I want to live on the difference, but it's slightly higher than the new one. Both of them have sort of a flat bottom. The bottoms are pretty similar in design. If you look at the old pot, it's got a rim around it that's flat. It's got a little indentation here. The new pot, exactly the same thing. Now, the dimensions are a little different. This pot at the bottom is going to be approximately, let's measure it like this, it's almost 3.5 inches across, okay? So it's almost 3.5 inches across this way with the new pot. The old pot is going to be about 3.25 inches. So it's a whole 1/4 inch smaller. So they both have the same design on the bottom. They both have a flat edge. The new one is going to have more surface area than the old one. So that's going to make it more stable. It's going to hold more liquid than the old one, so that's going to make it more stable. So I think, and it's less top heavy than the old one, I think. Maybe you could argue not, but I think the new one is going to be at least as stable, if not a little more stable than the old one is. Now, the next thing we want to measure is the tops of these. The top of the old one is approximately 3 7/8 across. The new one is about just a little over 4 inches across. So it's bigger at the top. The big part goes down further than it does on the old pot. So I think the new pot, clearly, that accounts for the fact that the new pot holds 750 milliliters. The old pot holds only 591 milliliters, or is it 591 milliliters. So, so that counts for the difference there. Now, the next question I had was, will stuff fit in this? I had one person ask, will the old pot fit in the new pot? Well, yes and no, okay? This will sort of fit, but it's going to get blocked by the bracket for the handle. And there's no counting for that. You could take that bracket off and just use this as a nesting cup. You could do that, certainly, but then you don't have any handle to pick it up by. You don't have anywhere to lock the lid on it. I don't think I would do that if I had an old pot. I think I'd leave the old pot there. It's certainly big enough to handle it, but I don't think it will. Somebody asked me if this would nest inside the 40-ounce Pathfinder cup. I don't know. I don't have a 40-ounce Pathfinder cup. The 32-ounce Pathfinder cup will sort of nest in there, but it stops. And why? Now, it's taller anyway, so it's not going to nest all the way down in there. And even if it did, it's going to stop because these butterfly handles are going to catch on the little shelf on the inside here. So this will not nest inside this, and this certainly will not nest inside that. Now, my Grail water cup, water bottle, it'll fit in here just fine. But to be honest with you, I've got other stuff I want to put in here, so I'm going to keep my Grail inside my 30 or 30, depending on how you mention it, the Pathfinder nesting cup that was sort of designed to go with the Grail. Will the new pot fit inside the $5 Ozark Trail camp cup? Well, sure will. However, I want you to note, the cup goes above that shelf right there. And what's going to happen is when you put your pot inside the cup, it's going to stop when it reaches that shelf, which means there is a void in the bottom of this cup. And the void is approximately the height distance between the top of this cup and where the shelf is. So that's, I would look at that and I'd say, yes, you can put stuff in there, maybe tea bags in there, you can put some, something else, maybe a soup packet in there. You could put a couple of little food items in there, maybe some water purification tablets, but you could put a few things down in the bottom of this cup because there's going to be a void in there. So that's that. Will the fuel canister fit inside the cup? Well, yes, but no more so. It's not going to fit all the way down in it. Which I think is what that's what they were getting at when they asked the question. Because I've shown you before, I put this in the old pot and I put this on top of it. It sits, it doesn't go down at all. This does go down in it a little bit, but when I do that and I put it in the cup, it's gonna move around a lot in there because this pot's bigger than the old pot. If I put this in the old pot, put the green cup in there, put this in there, you see that doesn't move around a lot. It's going to move around a lot more in the new pot than it does in the old pot. So we know that. A couple other things, weight on these things. So let's look at the weight. When we look at the weight of these two items, the old pot weighs in, and I'm just going to weigh the pot itself, not all the stuff that comes with it. Just the pot by itself is going to weigh 6.5 ounces. Now, the new pot is going to weigh 6.7 ounces. So to be honest with you, 2/10 of an ounce, that's not going to make a difference in my carrying. 2/10 of an ounce is fine. I'm fine with the extra weight on the new cup. So we've measured the cup, the two pots, we've weighed the two pots, we've compared their sizes, we've compared what will fit in them, what won't fit in them, what they'll fit into, what they won't fit into. So I think that pretty much answers most of the questions that people had. A couple of interesting points I think that people made. First of all, I asked the question in the video. I said I wasn't too sure why they put more holes in the new pot lid than they did in the old pot lid, and you can see that clearly when you look at the video here. You can see clearly that there's more holes in the new one than the old one. Why would they do that? Well, I think the reason they did that is because the holes in the new pot lid will allow you to strain water better. You put this thing on, turn them, and the multiple holes, the additional holes. This one has got, looks like 6 holes. This one's got looks like 10 holes. Those extra 4 holes are going to allow you to drain water better and quicker out of the new pot than you could out of the old pot. The other thing that I thought was interesting that somebody pointed out is you may not always want to put your pot on the fire directly, or you may want to suspend your pot over the fire. So the way you would do that is you would flip your ring up, you'll take your handle, cast it over that triangle, and put your tab up, and now you can hang this by the handle, or the little triangular or trapezoidal handle on this, because it's locked down, right? Now, the problem with this, of course, is going to be, okay, I'm finished. I've taken it off the fire. What I do, I don't have a handle anymore. To get to the handle, to pick it up, I'm gonna have to take gloves and pick this up manually off the fire because I don't have a handle to pick it up with. And once I get it off the fire, I'm gonna have to hold it with one hand while I squeeze and unlock this with the other hand so I can pick the lid up. So I don't know how practical that is, but it is an option you can do with that. So just a lot of things to think about. Somebody does say that this, I read one of the comments that this will fit in the 40-ounce Pathfinder cup. But if I've got my $5 cup there, I think that's perfectly fine for having something in the cup. If I have this in it, there's a nice coffee mug, so I've got something for coffee, I've got something for soup, I've got something to cook another dish in. I'm in good shape. And then if I really want water, I've got my nesting cup with my grail. So I've got plenty of pots and cooking utensils here with this kit as it is. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Hopefully that answers your questions. If you have more questions, make sure and add them in the comments and we'll try to address those. So in the meantime, remember what we always say: stay strong, stay prepared, and have a blessed day. We'll see you real soon on Cowboy Survival.